I'm Asma Khader from Jordan. I'm a lawyer. And the Sisterhood is Global Institute General Coordinator and some other issues.
Thank you, Asma, for being here with us. If you could just tell me, you have recently worked on passing the Domestic Violence Law Act in Jordan.
Yes.
But what was the reason? Why did you get started on this particular line of work?
Well, after a long time of struggling against violence against women and focusing on domestic violence in specific and facing all the problems because the existing laws is not taking into consideration the specific needs of women victims of violence and their need in being protected more than only punishing the perpetrators, and get the feelings that it is not enough what we already have, and that the need to have a specific law that is tackling this issue from a gender-sensitive angle, and trying to find a law that is social legal framework to deal with the victim as well as with the perpetrator, and to allow the police and the social workers and the medical specialists to take actions and to provide victims with the appropriate protection that is needed in this case. And because of that, and as part of a regional network to combat violence against women, we started this project to try to draft against Domestic Violence Act. And we did drafted this law, and we start lobbying for it. In fact, it was very useful, the approach of raising awareness involving different sectors like the police, the judges, the medical specialists, doctors and nurses, and even some academics who are teaching these issues. Beside them, the media and the police in particular, in some training courses to make it clear that there is a gap and there is a need also. Because even the police or the judges, sometimes they said it very clearly that we don't have a mandate to give any orders for the protection of the victim. Our mandate is only to send this person to trial and punish him or her, if rarely being a female. So this allow us to collect evidences from different sectors and get their support to the proposal. And then working with the Ministry of Social Development, we were able to push it to the top of the agenda of the ministry, and then this lead to present it to the government and then to the parliament, and it passed. Of course, it passed not exactly using the same wording and same text that we proposed. But despite of this fact, we were very happy that the parliament adopted. And that means the society at large, with the support of the leadership of the country, were ready to accept special measures to protect women from domestic violence and other members of the family, but most of the victims are wives and daughters. So we feel that this is a great step towards a real and appropriate protection for women, and to tackle the issue from a social aspect, and also from the interest and the needs of the victims. And that was a real successful step. Of course, this leads to have shelters, this leads to have more involvement of social workers, medical experts, other people in the cases and issues of domestic violence. And also there was new trend in this law, where the violators can be, if it was the first time, for example, could be treated to think of what they committed and to go through training courses and sessions where they will be more elaborated about the danger of committing this violence and about the importance of solving any conflict, any problem in a peaceful way. And if they repeat it again, then they may be sent to the court. So I think this was accepted by the society at large, and it was seen as a real progress in protecting women from domestic violence.
So rehabilitation of the...
There is kind of rehabilitation, and some of the punishments can be orders for social service rather than imprisonment. So it is also includes some alternative type of punishments that is more even suitable in these cases. But also it allow women not to drop their charges, because the only punishment in the previous laws in case of violence was imprisonment. And in this case, women, especially mothers and wives, usually feel that this is not a solution. They will lose the breadfeeder, mostly. So they don't like to continue the process to the end. They prefer to stop it because they don't want this result. They want to be protected. They want to be helped in raising awareness, rehabilitate their partners or their relatives in the issue, but not necessarily sending them to prison.
The women themselves prefer that as
yes, of course, yes, they asked for that. In the previous time where this law was not there, we have the program of counseling and social and legal counseling for women victims of violence, and usually when we inform them about their legal rights and there is a possibility to send their husbands to the court and then they maybe take a few months in prison or more, usually they said no, we don't want this, because this will create even a more negative reaction. Especially because the punishment is few months imprisonment. So they will be released. Divorce can be one result. The other result, these husbands may lose their job opportunities, and because of that, the family will be left behind in poverty, which is not the results that any mother or wife want.
Wow, that's very interesting. You kept talking about we. Who could you say who the we are?
The we is all these NGOs who are believing really in combating violence against women, but mainly it is Sisterhood is Global Institute Jordan, which is one of the WLP Women Learning Partnership network and partners. And of course, around Sisterhood is a Global Institute, there are many groups, and it's a coalition, bigger, wider coalition that we are, as Sisterhood is Global Institute is leading. And of course, we have the program that help us, counseling program, that helps us to collect real stories that support our work. And of course, we work also with a wider coalition in Jordan, because we think that this is an issue that is on the top of the interest of many other women organizations, human rights organizations, and civil society. And we get also a strong support from the media community, some very well-known writers and journalists who report all the time on the issue and support the demand to have a law, and to provide also women with other services such as counseling, legal aid, also legal education, because as a new law, we think that there is a lot of work to make it known by a wider number of women and men, because we wanted to prevent violence, not necessarily also only to act after the violence has happened. We want it to be used as a prevention tool from using violence means in in the relation between man and woman. And also this is helping us also to focus on other issues related to violence. For example, the training that we conducted around violence against women and the severe types of violence against women, such as what's so-called honor crimes and trafficking, for example. We were able to push anti-trafficking law, which was adopted also in Jordan, and it is enforced now. And now we are conducting training courses and providing counseling for women victims of violence, especially when it is a foreign woman coming to Jordan to be taken to somewhere else and, used in an illegal way. And the other result also is that there is now a specialized criminal court that is the only court who is allowed to look into cases that are related to what's so-called honor crime. And since last September, with this court, we can witness easily that the judges of this court is not easily use the mitigation reasons. And since then, the minimum sentence which was given in case of committing a crime and use the honor defense was 10 years imprisonment. Because the law is not giving only 6 months, but it allows the court to give minimum to 6 months. The situation before is most of the judges were giving the minimum. Since we have this court, and it was as a result of the lobbying and the campaign that was conducted in Jordan against this phenomena with the support of His Majesty also, and the media and many other social actors, in fact, we can see that a real change is happening. And now you can read in the front pages of the newspapers that a man who killed his sister get 10 years imprisonment or 15 years imprisonment. This is a very important message to the public. This is a practice that is normal crime, and this excuse is not anymore accepted. So the message, in my opinion, will help reducing the number of victims of such kind of crimes.
Over the time, what challenges have you encountered, and what advice would you have for others, who are dealing with domestic violence and work with human rights, work with police and with judiciary? What are the best ways to work and raise awareness with these groups?
I think we should, based on actual cases, on the real life, first of all. And secondly, we should be patient and know that social change takes time. It cannot happen at once. And thirdly, we should work with all stakeholders. It's not right that we act as civil society in isolation of being in contact with the parliament, with the government, with the other stakeholders that are interested in the issue. The fourth thing is to collect data and evidences and to build the case. So everybody who is listening will feel that, yes, it is a justice case. And we should protect those victims from being being victims or possible victims. And it is important to use a scientific way in raising awareness. It is not just talking, but collecting data, information, see the issue from different angles. The health angle, for example, in case of domestic violence, it is an economic problem, it is a productivity problem, it is a health problem, it is a safety problem. So it has to be seen from different angles, and different specialists need to contribute to the work. It is not only legal, it is not only health, it is health, economy, legal, social, even religious. Sometimes you need to use the religious leaders who can prove that what is widely spread is that there is some coverage by religious to some violent practices is not true. And when you have a religious person from Islamic background or Christian background who is talking about the issue and informing the public that it is not part of the religion and there is no excuse to commit this violence. I think it's very important. So it's important to use all means that is available, and to accept small steps in the beginning, because you cannot always say we want it complete 100% or nothing. I prefer that it is a process. So you developed and the situation will develop, and you will keep going, so you can reach the highest level of the standards that you are trying to reach. But it is not necessary to take a stand that we want it all, or we cannot accept any part of it.
That's excellent. When we were in Jordan, there was a judge who's I think a good colleague and friend of yours and a strong supporter.
Yes.
What brought him on? Like, what's his story? You know, how did he come to be such a strong supporter?
I think they attended tens of our workshops and our training courses and meetings and discussions, and also they were close to some specific cases that we take to courts, so they know about it. And of course, they were always following what is said or reported in the media and in the newspapers, and because of that, they start to feel that as judges, they cannot be except for human rights and women's rights. And I think following this judge was tens of other judges. This year, on the 8th of March, we will celebrate, for example, the achievements of women judges, female judges in Jordan, and also the women in the law profession, because there are women as lawyers, as faculty of law, dean of the faculty of law, and other professors in the law University of Jordan, of Amman, and other universities. And since 1996, we were able to have the first woman judge in Jordan, which is very newly. It was not accepted before. But since then, we now have 48 women judges. One of them is a judge in the International Criminal Court for Rwanda. And one of them is now the chief of the court in Amman. And we hope that one of them will be very soon a member of the Judicial Council. There are women who are leading a very modern specialized areas, such as the mediation, such as the arbitration, such as the property rights, for example, and juvenile justice. But also the good news is that in the Judiciary Institute now, more than 60% of the students are female. That means in the coming few years, more than 60% of the judges will be female also. So there are real good developments. And if I tell you, when I first spoke about the right for women to be a judge, the reaction was very negative by many sectors in the community. And there was some ideas that women are not capable, women should not, according to religious, they cannot be judges, all of this. But then, since then and now, you can listen to many lawyers and judges and ministries and even normal citizens who are using the courts. All of them are saying that the female judges are excellent. And what they are achieved is really very remarkable achievements. So I think that based on what was done, we were always claiming equal rights and working on these issues with the local communities was very important, especially when the message is not only within the female communities. It is a message that is sent to the public through different means. That is very important. Involving men also, and working with new generation is very important. And maybe I can tell you that there was one active woman who attended WLP learning courses, and she became very, very empowered, and she is a real leader in her community. She established an NGO in her small town, and then she ran to the municipal elections. And a few weeks ago, she had a conference in her it's a village nearly, small town, and the title was Women and the Law. The recommendations of that conference, they call it Mleh Declaration. The name of the city, the town is Mleh. They call it Mleh Declaration on Women's Legal Rights. And they ask for women judges in the family courts, Sharia courts. And they ask for 25% seats for women in the parliament. They ask for a specific legal amendments that are still needed, and the declaration was very strong because the attendance of the conference were not only women. There was tribal leaders, men and women from different ages, different specialization, governmental, non-governmental, and it was a real success conference. Came from one of the rural areas, and the declaration was published in the newspapers everywhere as a demand by men and women of this part of Jordan. So I think this is a way where you have the support from all actors around you.
What you said is very critical, because achieving this kind of culture change. Kind of culture change in just 2 decades, in about 20 years.
Yes.
Starting with changing thinking and behavior and actions through mobilizing, through very strategic interventions, like you said,
Yes.
of putting women into positions of
Yes.
power by them becoming the judges who can then help execute
Absolutely.
or develop new laws.
Yes.
That is really
And the implementation, in fact, what is very important by having more women judges and lawyers and legal educated women at large is very important, because sometimes you have the laws there, but you are not benefiting from seeing these laws works for women and implemented. And in a patriarchal society, any patriarchal society, who are not believing in these issues, they just need to ignore it. If there is no strong powers who are ready to use these laws and fight for the right implementation of these laws, and without this you will not see that real changes for women in their daily life is happening. In Jordan, I think that what was achieved in the last few years is very important. Everybody is saying that we can see that women are in a different position now in Jordan, but still we have a way to walk to cross, because there are many other issues which we need to work on, and there is a lot of work going on. More shelters are open, more services are provided, more information about violence against women. The National Network to Combat Violence Against Women, Sham'a, is now very active, and they are. This network includes all stakeholders who are involved in the issue, and they are working together in capacity building, in awareness raising, in services, providing services from different aspects, and in making sure that the laws is going to be implemented, which is the most important part of it.
That's incredible, Asma. You are such an inspiration. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
These things that you're doing is really unbelievable and fascinating. Oh yes, let me. Sorry, if I could ask just one more question. Yes, thank you. As you know, it's the 10th anniversary of WLP, as it is the 10th anniversary of SIGI as well.
Yes.
What message would you like to share with the... do I have to do that again? No, it's fine. What message would you like to share with the other partners in the network?
Well, congratulations. for all of our partners and for all of the WLP family, because I think it's a real inspiring partnership. I can tell you that we benefit a lot from being part of this wonderful network, and we were able to exchange experiences and knowledge and also energy and inspiration. And I think celebrating 10 years was built also of experiences by all of the partners, by WLP leadership, Mahnaz and other colleagues who are really coming from different backgrounds, but all of them have a very rich experience in mobilizing for women's human rights and to combat violence against women. And I think what we learn from each other is that we should not fed up, and we should keep going and work, because results that we believe in will come. And they, despite of all the difficulties and the obstacles and the, sometimes ups and downs that we see in our societies, the progress is happening all the time. And especially with the program focusing on youth and technology, I think we are really strategizing for the future, and we are really trying to build a movement that will not stop when we feel tired, and that will continue and will achieve even more, because they will benefit from our experiences, our work, but they will put more energy, more future vision, more maybe more strong, better understanding of what the new generation need in specific, and they will benefit from all the new technology, new resources that are available for their work. So I do believe that what we learned from each other was really very, very, very valuable. And because of that, we hope that the tradition of focusing on young people, the Youth Tech Festival that we started last year in Jordan, this year will be on women and the election. And next year maybe they will choose another aspect to focus on. But they are a movement in growing all the time. And I hope that Women Learning Partnership will celebrate 100 years by feeling that a new, real, peaceful world and world with equality and dignity and freedoms and rights that are guaranteed for everybody is there.
Thank you, Asma. Thank you so much. 100 years, that is a vision. We have to strive. I like this.